Kuwait-based Filipinos died following a fire that broke out in a heavily populated residential building south of Kuwait City, according to the Department of Migrant Workers. In a statement, Migrant Worker Secretary Hans Kakdak says the 3 overseas Filipino workers who died from smoke inhalation were part of a group of 11 OFWs working for the same Kuwaiti construction company housed in the building that caught fire. Kakdak adds that 2 other OFWs remain in the hospital and are in critical condition, while the remaining 6 are all safe and unharmed. According to Kakdak, they are already in touch with the families of all affected OFWs, including the families of those 2 in critical condition and the families of the 3 fatalities. Kakdak further says that the agency will provide all the necessary assistance and support to the OFWs and their families in this difficult time as directed by President Bongbong Marcos. DMW says the fire was reported at around 4:30 a.m. on June 12 in a building that served as a housing and dormitory facility for foreign workers employed by a Kuwaiti construction company. The building is in Al Mangaf, a coastal city south of Kuwait City. Kuwait's Interior Ministry earlier reported that at least 49 people were killed from the fire. Former Congressman Arnol Teves is currently under house arrest in Timor Leste, according to the Department of Justice. Citing the Timor Leste Prosecutor General, Justice Undersecretary Raul Vasquez says Teves is currently under house arrest and is under the control of police authorities. Meanwhile, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio says the Timor Leste court has allowed the former lawmaker to be placed under house arrest.
Ngayon, kinuha siya right after na release siya from Becora Prison from preventive detention. Nakita after one hearing na hindi ganun kataas ang flight risk ni Congressman Teves na dapat nasa jail siya o kahit sa holding area ng Pulisya Nacional de Timor Leste, pinayagan na lang siyang nasa bahay under guard ng PNTL. So yun po ang nangyari.
Topacio says Teves is only allowed to go out to attend court hearings.
He is free to go around yung bahay niya yung sa yard. If he has to go somewhere, halimbawa medical checkup or anything that is necessary, he can ask the permission of the court.
The Timor Leste court is still conducting a hearing on the Philippine government's extradition request. Teves has been charged with the 2023 murder of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo and 9 others in what is now known as the Pamplona Massacre. However, Teves has long denied the charges and refused to return to the Philippines, saying he was subject to political persecution. Senate President Francis Escudero addresses his viral video with First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, who was seen sipping from his wine glass during the Vin d'Honneur at the Malacanang Palace on Wednesday. In a video that circulated on social media, Escudero is seen holding a glass of wine with other guests when President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos later joined them. The First Lady then approached Escudero and suddenly took a sip from his wine glass. She later returned the rest of the wine to the Senate chief. In a statement, Escudero says he considers waiting on a lady as an act of being a gentleman, referring to some comments that he was treated like a waiter during the palace event. Escudero adds that others may call the act old-fashioned, but for the Senate President, being courteous and respectful will never be out of style. Escudero further says there is nothing wrong with being a gentleman to any lady at every opportunity. The Vin d'Honneur, or Wine of Honor, is an annual palace event during Independence Day celebrations that is attended by foreign dignitaries and national leaders. The religious sect Kingdom of Jesus Christ claims the Philippine National Police is not telling the truth when it said it carried out a lawful operation during the delivery of arrest warrants for Apollo Quiboloy and others in Davao City on June 10. In a statement, the religious sect, which was founded by Quiboloy, says hundreds of PNP members allegedly heavily armed attacked their compounds in Davao City with unnecessary and unrestrained force. The PNP previously said they stormed the KJC compound because they were hit by a water cannon. But the Kingdom of Jesus Christ says the PNP's claim is false, citing a CCTV footage which supposedly shows that the water cannon was only used when the soldiers forced their way into the compound. The religious sect also says the PNP members continued their operation despite asking them to wait for the group's lawyers, and even climbed up a ladder at the gate and jumped into the compound. KJC also claims that a number of missionaries sustained injuries after the PNP's violent entry, including a woman who got kicked in her face by a military boot. KJC says 2 other male missionaries also sustained injuries in their shoulders and arms. Quiboloy's lawyer, Israelito Torion, previously said the main gate of the Glory Mountain was smashed and destroyed when the police forcibly entered their property. INQUIRER.net has sought the side of PNP about KJC's statement, but it has yet to respond. In a previous statement, the PNP maintained that the June 10 law enforcement operation against Quiboloy and his subordinates in Davao City was conducted in strict compliance with its legal security protocols. On April 3, a Davao Regional Trial Court ordered the arrest of Quiboloy and his men, namely Crescente Canada, Pauline Canada, Ingrid Canada, Sylvia Camanes, and Jack Leroy over charges of violating Republic Act No. 7610 or the Anti-Child Abuse Law, specifically the provision on sexual abuse of minors and maltreatment. Amid growing security concerns regarding Philippine offshore gaming operators, the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission confirms some gaming hubs are operating near Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement sites. Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. raised the alarm on Pogos sites near military bases, saying they must be stopped due to the illegal activities that spring from them. In a briefing, PAOCC spokesperson Winston John Casio says they have already investigated some online gaming platforms operating near military sites.
We have already investigated some online gaming platforms, online gaming sites that are near military sites. In fact, a good number of them are near and located near Edca sites. No, so we have made our concerns. We have shared our concerns with the proper authorities.
The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement sites are where United States military troops are stationed in the Philippines. Casio adds they hoped that the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation and other regulatory agencies could work with the Department of National Defense on the matter.
And we do hope that PAGCOR, together with the other regulatory agencies, do sit down together with the Department of National Defense so that once and for all, we're able to ensure that not a single scam farm or not a single licensed Pogo, for that matter, would be located near our Edca sites.
However, PAGCOR previously stated that there were no licensed Pogo operations near military camps. PAGCOR Chairman Alejandro Tenco said that the operating Pogo sites near military bases may be operating illegally. Senate President Francis Escudero expresses his support for Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr.'s call to stop the operation of Philippine offshore gaming operators near military bases in the country. According to Escudero, all illegal Pogo operations must be stopped. However, the Senate chief says that if Teodoro is referring to legal Pogos, the defense official should discuss his concern with the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation. For his part, Senate President Pro Tempore and Chairperson of the Senate Panel on National Defense, Jigoy Estrada, says apart from the security concerns raised on Pogo operations, reports of about 250 Pogos operating without licenses should prompt authorities to conduct a crackdown on these firms. Estrada adds that Pogos do not bring any good to the country since they are not paying taxes and are going against our laws. Meanwhile, Senator Loren Legarda says that Pogos in general are a threat to national security and should be shut down now. According to Legarda, law enforcement authorities must take drastic action to prevent further criminal elements to use Pogos as fronts. Legarda also says there is also a need to deport mainland Chinese nationals who are illegally operating Pogos, especially those involved in criminal activities. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian also talks about the need to elevate Pogos to the level of a national security threat. Contrary to the statements of senators, National Security Advisor Eduardo Años says the existence of Pogos sites in the country does not yet constitute a national security threat that would need military involvement like in cases of terrorism and insurgency. But rather, Años says it is only a national concern that the police could still handle. Consumers should prepare for higher power prices as the Manila Electric Company announces an increase in electricity rates this June. Meralco says the electricity rates will increase by 64 centavos per kilowatt hour. This brings the overall rate from 11 pesos and 41 centavos per kilowatt hour for May to 12 pesos and 5 centavos per kilowatt hour this June. According to Meralco, this increase is estimated to reflect around 129 pesos in consumers' monthly bills. Meralco explains that an increased generation charge from higher costs in the wholesale electricity spot market contributed to the higher rates. The electric provider likewise says that wholesale electricity spot market charges were higher due to high demand in May and that charges from independent power producers contributed to the increase. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.